All right. First and foremost, we gonna say all praises be to unto Yahweh,
Noah,
Ba'ashem,
Hashem,
yeah,
Yahushai,
Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kodash.
Shemukakadash,
And then we're gonna say double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the
double
sincere
honors, double
elect.
honors.
Teaching the truth in faith and sincerity. And a quick topic, brothers kind of want to speak on and get into is a topic. Hey, the prophets were right, and really the prophets are always right. You know what I'm saying? The
Mm-hmm.
the the, the, the prophets are always right. All right, people like to call us the prophets of doom, this and that, or whatever it is. But we just speak the truth, and it's like you know, as the day as the days go by and the days continue, the word of the prophets of great millstone, of the apostles and elders of great millstone on down, and those that are in the in the same spirit, it's been shown more. Like we've been talking for a long time about how a time of starvation and famine is coming, right? How a time of evil is coming, how a time of food shortages, right? Plagues and pestilences, and obviously the the MOTB, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID implantable chip, and people through just being asleep for okay, how is this going to happen? You know what I mean? How is this going to play out? And the Lord is literally showing us how it's going to play out, right? Because if we look at what's happening with Israel and Iran and America, the Strait of Hormuz and the time windows missed for fertilizer and all that kind of stuff, like bro, 50% of the Earth's food supply relies on synthetic fertilizer. So if things are not in
If
motion,
Esau, if
if
Esau don't need to
yeah,
be
yeah,
destroyed just from that alone,
yeah, yeah,
just from that, just
you
just
know,
for that alone,
yeah,
forget anything else. Just for that
yeah,
alone, like
yeah,
synthetic fertilizer, like what are we talking about here?
yeah. So if it's like 50% of the Earth's food supply relies on synthetic fertilizer, so it's like if these things are not in motion before a certain kind of time periods, if seeds are not planted in a certain window, it affects harvest. You know what I mean? You know, like we're seeing the information on the ships that have already left and how 6 to 12 months from now, just the impact of this time period is going to show. It's about to get spooky, man. So with that, can we get Jeremiah 28:8, and then can we also get Matthew 24? All these are the beginning of sorrows, man. You know, and
This is
of course, bro,
Jeremiah.
if you got anything to say, you know, you just say.
Yep. This is Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries, against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence.
Man, of war and of evil and of pestilence, man. You know, of war and of evil and of pestilence. And it's like we've been speaking about that. And when we speak about these things, you're just saying this because you're this gruntled and blah blah blah, and you're just not that that ain't the words of Jesus, all right? But no, man, yo, it's the truth because everyone with everything that's taking place, people cannot comfortably pinpoint it spiritually. You know what I mean? I mean? A person might start off with that. Yeah, it's mentioned in the Bible, but when you ask them to break it down, after a while they start going left. But we
Yeah.
starting off with apostles, and that was a great milestone. We told you about the least of the flock shall draw them out. We told you about the mark of the beast and the CBDCs. Well, brothers have been talking about that, and we clearly see when you have a crisis that takes place, eventually, like we had in World War One, you're gonna have a shortage of food supply, and what's left? It has to be controlled and rationed. And in 2026, when rationing happens, do you think people got time for paper pamphlets and booklets and shit? No,
Mhm.
just upload the information onto a blockchain or something that can be, managed in order, you know, which is all going to be linked to the chip, man. You know,
That's it.
yeah, bro.
This is Matthew 24 and 8. It says, Matthew 24 and 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not
You know,
troubled."
start from three, Bubble Shah. Let's read into it.
It says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And when shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahshua answered and said unto
Mm.
them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in
Yeah,
my name, saying."
so, so when we say that the end of the world, like, I mean, are we talking about this whole say, like, are we saying that this this whole world is going to spontaneously combust and be destroyed? No. When we say this, right, we're talking about the end of the reign and rulership of Esau, you know, which is the last kingdom of people, the last nation of people that's going to be in power before the Lord returns, which I'm gonna read that, right, and before the kingdom of heaven is established. This is Second Ezra 6 and 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him. Jacob's hand held fast the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Yeah, he's going to speak on it.
That's it, right? Because if this individual in power right now ain't the Edomites, that means we have to wait for another nation to come along that is the Edomites in order for this to be done, right? Now, when you look at what this man has been doing throughout the world, if this ain't the Edomite, then hey, we through, right? Just out and out. If this man ain't the Edomite, then that means that there's someone who is more wicked and nasty than he is, right? But we understand through prophecies, right, that this isn't the case. That this is Esau, and as we've just read, Esau is the end of the world, right? And we're Jacob, so we're out here. We're out here, just waiting at this point. So what it says in what Zephaniah 3 and 8, wait ye upon me till I rise up to the prey, right?
Exactly. It's all beautiful, man. So, look, man, it's clear that this guy is the Edomite. The prophets were right. It's the same thing that happened in lockdown. You're just talking, and then everything happened. And we've been telling you about World War Three for a very long time, and we can see that flashpoints
Yeah. So
now. Like, what I mean? Like, see, before, um people like, you know Professor Zhang probably wouldn't even get like any views, but now
yeah,
he's like like one of the most viewed guys right now because
yeah,
because yep, speak, bro.
yeah, no, I was saying because ultimately everyone wants to know what's going on. Everyone wants to know, okay, what happens after this, right? Everyone wants
Mhm.
to, that's why you have what was what's that thing where they read your hand, palm readers, and
Mm,
these sorts, because people always want to know what is to come. But this is it: the
mm,
prophets are the ones that know what's to come, right?
mhm.
And you have these Professor Zhangs and whatever, but ultimately, who was out there before all of these people?
Way before,
And
well, the
way
apostles
before,
have been talking about the least of the flock, man,
these
and
people are
famine.
coming in. Yeah, that's it. These people are coming in now when it's easy to put the like so you know what it's like, bro. Like when you've
Mm,
got like one of them big puzzles, them 2,000 piece puzzles, right?
mm,
And then like the prophets, they basically put it down and there's like 20 pieces left, right? Professor
mm,
Zhang, now that you can see what the puzzle is, Professor Zhang is like, oh yeah, and then this piece goes there and that piece goes there. It's like, bro, we told you
yeah,
what it was gonna be way back when, Right, there
Yeah,
was
it's
no
it.
picture on the box. We just looked at the pieces. Was like, yo, bam, that's what it is.
Exactly, exactly.
No,
And
rather,
it's like,
Salak,
mhm,
can I correct that analogy? There were
mhm,
there is a picture on the box, but you had to decipher it, and that's the
mhm,
spirit, right? The spirit allowed us to know, oh, okay, cool, that's what the picture is, and these other
mhm,
guys are coming in when all of the work is done, trying to take
mhm.
credit.
Yeah, but hey, you know it's cool though, because you can't do nothing against the truth and for the truth. And it's
That's
like,
it.
uh, like at the end of the day, this Bible is real life, isn't it? So when it says you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, we the prophets, like the stage of prophecy in us speaking is okay. You're gonna hear of wars and rumors of wars, and it plays out in real life where the Lord has these social commentators to give a report on the rumor, innit? You know, if
That's
you,
it.
I mean, because a rumor like is a report. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? A rumor is a report, like, and it's like they have their part to play. It's like really, man, in terms of gathering the news, we don't have to do much work. The Lord just uses
Uses these guys, yeah.
these professors and the all these Edomites to just gather us, uh, gather the information for us, and we filter it through the scriptures.
That's it.
So when they are going off, you're like, nope, nah. Like if someone tries to say, no, this isn't going to lead to World War III and it's going to go back to normal, you'd be like, nah, he's chatting shit. Because look, this is where it's going. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's real life.
This is
Yeah.
Psalm 64 and 8. So shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, all that see them shall flee away. And this is going
Mm,
into what the brother's talking about in regards to you have a lot of these analysts, like, your Scott Ritter or whatever, what have you, right? There are certain things that he will know because he from what he frames, because you never know who's real in all of these stuff, right? But from what he
mm,
frames, he was there. He's been in these positions. He's been and he was like, okay, cool. And one of the things he said, like, they always do the same thing, but they ain't gonna
mm,
try bring up anything new. So he's basically applying his lived experiences to what we're seeing, and then he's filtering it through his knowledge, what we're filtering things through the scriptures, right?
mm.
And I want to touch on something you just said there, because you get people that are like, let's say there's a semblance, because there's apparently, the Strait of Hormuz is open now, apparently, right?
Mm.
We know that th- we still know Israel's going to do something, because that's what's written.
Yep.
Eventually,
Mm.
whether it's next week or 2 months from now, whatever, we know that that is what is written for them, right? The least of the flock
Yeah.
shall draw them out. The least of the flock has already drawn them out. You think you think Americans want what was it, $4 or $5 gas? They don't want
Yeah,
five
bro, it's
dollar
cool.
gas.
Because it's like we always touch on the insurance aspect. It's like, okay, let's say it's open. The insurance is going to still be at a premium.
Yeah, well,
You
I've
know what I
got
mean?
that information here.
Yeah. Go into it.
Right. So I asked the robot, right? I said, using up-to-date information and thinking critically, if the Iran war ended today, how long before markets, economy, supply chains, logistics, and transportation return to normal? Consider all of the secondary impacts of the war, such as fertilizer disruption and supply destruction. Right now, supply destruction is an interesting one, because what that's going into is the fact that the source has been destroyed, right? You have a lot of plants that have actually been destroyed, a lot of like a refinery stuff, and infrastructure in the Gulf that has been destroyed. And it's not just a, oh yeah, the Gulf is the Strait of Hormuz is open, right? Let things everything goes back to normal. So no, you still have certain infrastructure that's going to take years to rebuild, right? Which means that's always going to be running at a loss. So it says financial markets days to weeks, right? Markets are already showing the pattern. When the ceasefire signal hit, stocks surged and oil dropped more than 10% in a single day, right? And this is it. Once again, it's this was happening right before a what do you call it, a Friday, once again, when markets closed, which Donald Trump seems to like doing that, trying to sway the markets before the weekend so that they can win big. Okay.
Mm,
And that's what you see. It says, and this is a good point that is made here, markets recover before reality does. I read an article the other day basically saying that oil is basically being on the stock market, it's like $100 and so, where in reality people are buying it $150, right?
Mm.
So there's a disconnect between the real world and what is actually happening on the markets, right? It says economies, GDP,
Yeah, and it's
inflation.
like it's like it's an ESO's history to play with the markets, to put out information like in the news, to make people, you know, short certain things or buy certain, you know what I mean? It's that's how ESO is. Like remember that's how the Rothschilds got rich,
Mhm.
you know, with the Duke of Wellington and just the false information that was spread. You know what I'm saying? You
That's
know?
it.
Yeah.
Yep, this is economies, GDP, inflation, employment, 6 to 24 months, so 6 to 2 years. IMF level projections already show growth damage in 2026 with recovery into 2027. Wars, depression, depress growth via inflation, trade disruption, and damaged capacity. Right, 0 to 3 months inflation linkage, energy and shipping costs take time to normalize. 3 to 12 months growth rebounds unevenly. 12 to 24 months, most macro indicators normalize. And this is the point, if no further shocks, which we understand, regardless of what they're going to announce over the next couple of days, there are going to be further shocks, right? Because it is prophesied that, that this isn't just going to end. Okay.
Mhm.
This is what delays recovery, energy infrastructure damage. And this $50 billion plus, right, of damage, right? Diverts resources and slows expansion, and persistent inflation from earlier shocks, fertilizer, food, and shipping, right? So supply chain, right? 1 to 3 years and some permanent changes. Modern supply chains don't snap back, they reconfigure. War disrupts routes, supplies, insurance, and trade policy simultaneously, right? So 0 to 6 congestion clears, routes reopen, right? 6 to 18 month contracts reset, inventories rebuilt, and then 1 to 3 years supply network stabilize. So, but here's the critical part: some changes don't reverse, right? So you're basically going to see new trade lines, right? This is a point
Mm.
that made me bring this back up, right? Logistics, transportation, 3 to 12 months physical, and then 1 to 2 years cost normalization, and all
Mm.
of that time
Mm.
when costs are high to move goods, guess what? All of your goods are more expensive, right? In the UK, I forgot the terminology, but when you are importing goods, you pay tax not on the price of the good that has come into the UK. You pay tax. I think it's on the freight, insurance,
Mm.
and something else, right? So basically, if it costs more, as you say, the price of the goods plus the price of the freight plus the price of insurance. So right now, it's significantly more expensive to insure anything in that route.
Mm.
Two, because the price of oil has gone up, the cost of freight has significantly gone up. And then
Mm.
let's say the cost of your goods stays the same. You're paying 20% on top of all of that
Cooked.
cooked. Okay. So it says shipping lanes reopening weeks and months, airline freight routes 1 to 6 months, freight routes in insurance and routing efficiency 6 to 18 months, longer if risk premiums stay elevated, which they will, right? And that's it. Like the risk premiums will stay sky high, right? And I'll just
Mm.
speed through this. Secondary impacts, energy shock, everything else. Fertilizer and food, fertilizer disruption hit with a lag next planting season. Food inflation can persist 12 to 24 months after conflict ends, right?
Mm.
And then tens of billions redirected to repair, not growth, right? And that's it. You can see the key
Yeah,
metrics
yeah,
there.
bro. Like with ESO in the system, it's like his system, like there's factories and production plants and how they are. They, bro, a lot of these factories run 24/7. It's built to just run
Hmm
24/7. And as soon as you have any kind of disruption, whether it's a part of a machine broke down or a data issue, these things come to a standstill and take so long, like to get back online. Like my factory, man, when something happens and our systems go down, it could take a whole weekend or anything else to come back online. And literally everything goes to a standstill, and things start. And then when you're restarting things, things might have backed up, things might have jammed. You know, connections have to be retested, experts have to be brought in. So just imagine that on an industrial scale in a whole like supply chain, and missing when fertilizer has to be done, and certain, you know what I mean. You know, it's a whole web of just, it's fucked upness. You know what I'm saying? You
Mm.
know. So to people who think, the straight hard moves open, so everything's going back to normal, absolutely not. Like even here, like in the UK, they've been talking about, like, in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a shortage of like chicken and certain supplies. You know what I mean? Anyway, I have a quick one. This is Ezekiel 12:21. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Tell them therefore, that saith the Lord power, I'll make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. For there shall, yeah, so, and the effect of every vision. Because anytime we speak about World War III and famine and food supply and the mark of the beast, I personally heard people before say, yes, I do believe this is gonna happen, but it will happen not in my lifetime, but in your children's children's lifetime. I actually heard that once. I'm like, nigga, what are you talking about? If you don't see what's happening right here, you know,
Well,
because
that's the word cognitive dissonance, man.
that's it.
Right. It's sort of like when we talk about the nukes, where it's just like they'd never be so stupid to shoot, right?
How
And
you
you
know?
know, no, but let's be real. Technically, that's what the scripture says in Ezekiel 38. The Lord shall put an evil thought in their mind, right? Because
Mhm,
in the eyes of man, it's a stupid fucking idea.
mhm,
But the Lord is the one that wants it to happen. So the Lord is going to
mhm.
be like, nah, you know what? Push that button.
Yeah,
Put in
it's,
the code, turn the key.
yeah, yeah. It's, like here it is. Like, even if you type in UK food shortages, you say, Britain preparing for food shortages as Iran war bites. UK prepares for food shortages in worst case scenario as Iran war continues. UK could face gaps in supermarket shelves by summer if Iran war continues. It's like, people think it's, nah. You see what I'm saying about people, yeah? Like, Israel and Iran and the whole situation, that don't matter until it reaches their doorstep, you know?
Yep. Well,
So,
you you
yeah.
you you know what's just come to my mind is the preset thief in the night,
Mm,
right? Is if there's if there's it's sort of like how now like you see someone, yeah, I probably had the vid. Oh, is that it? And then now everyone moves on with their life. It just became a normal part of the conversation, right?
mm.
Where it's like if these things in the Middle East continue just being a normal part of the conversation, people get what? They get numb to it.
Like, bro, Dubai.
Yeah,
When's the last time anyone mentioned Dubai? No
yep,
one's like, people. It's just a week of, oh shit, we got Brits stuck over there, and there's still people over there. By the way, there's
yeah.
still Brits
And
stuck.
bro, it's like, would you call it like I love aviation, innit? So it's like
Mm,
when I see planes fly past, bro, like we'll be at camp, bro. Qatar Airlines is still coming through. Emirates
mm,
Airlines are still coming through. That means there are people on the plane,
mm,
you know?
mm. I have a precept. This is our first Thessalonians 5:1. But of the times and seasons, Brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord shall cometh as a thief of the night. All right? And the day of the Lord, what's he talking about? All of the judgments, evil, and destruction that's going to happen, that's going to lead up onto the eventual day that the Lord returns. You know what I mean? Because before he does return, the scripture says, "What will I if it already be kindled?" Because there's already going to be things happening. Like, well, but you can really see how Second Ezra 15 and 16 is going to happen. A man not having any pity on his neighbor because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. Like, you actually see how that's going to happen. The global food supply chain is broken, and that's going to have all of its effects that it's going to have. You know, it's clear. You know, we can visualize it, we can see it because it's right before our face. You know, it says, "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord shall cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. I shall veil upon a woman and a child, and they shall not escape." And you know what? Yeah, before this Israel and Iran conflict, that peace and safety spirit was kind of out here. You know what I mean? Because just in you know how you can see the trends of social media, like the whole wireless and Coachella spirit was really back out here. Concerts, boxing fights, you know, Tyson Fury, Terence Crawford, all of these muffs have really now fully come back, which it has been for like the last year, 2 years. But that this whole conflict caught a lot of people off guard, like, oh shit. And guess what? Now they're still saying peace and safety. They're
Hmm.
still saying peace and safety, not actually knowing how hard things are about to come and bite them. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
it
it.
says, if I carry on, right? It says, "For yourselves know perfectly, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, and travail upon a woman and a child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that they should not overtake you as a thief." Yeah, bro, we've been constantly refreshing the page, bro, on Israel and Iran. Like, that's what we've been doing. Like, my brothers
Hmm.
have been looking at the news for years, bro. My brothers have done algorithms and shows breaking down the whole process. You know, and these regional conflicts and how it's going to impact us long term. We've been talking about this. You remember back in the day, news on Israel, Iran might come up every 6 months. You know, you be searching for like an article, and then it's like one major article comes out every so couple of months. Now it's like it comes out every 15 minutes, if that.
That's the birth pang. That's just symptomatic of a birth pang, right?
Mm,
Because with birth pangs, it's just you have the one, and then a
mm,
couple of weeks later, you do the whole thing. You go to the you go to the, would you call it? Go to the hospital. You're like, yo, XYZ, and then they send you back, being like, nah, you're not even close,
mm.
right? And then you go, and then there's another one. But then when it's time, it's just everything happening at the same time. One after the other, after the other, after the other.
Exactly. It says um so that they should overtake as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness, and that's ties into why the scripture says, um, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Because as these things are happening, when you hear what's gonna happen, a carnal mind can't do nothing but panic. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna buy my weapons. I'm gonna buy 15 years of food supplies and protect what I've got. You know what I'm saying? Someone with that mind could. really be like, yo, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. However, brothers that have been in the spirit and sisters, we know that what's coming, we still have hope. No matter how bad it's gonna get, because you know what I mean. It has to get bad before it gets better. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like you only see a person who's like this dislocated their foot or their shoulder. It's like when it's out of place is in pain, but to put it back into place is painful too.
Mm-hmm.
It's painful too, and it's like but it has to be put back into place, readjusted, so that you can get better. You know what I'm saying? So it's beautiful, man. It says, therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night, and they that be drunken the drunken in the night. But let us uh who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an hope the helmet of salvation. For the Lord have not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. So we, Lord willing, have not been appointed to wrath. So that's why when we talk about these things, and people are like, "Ah, so what are you gonna do?" We're telling you what's gonna happen, and we know and believe the Lord's gonna protect us if we're of His elect. So you gotta take that up, with the Lord. So you know what I mean? Because all these people, I want to panic. That that panic is between you and the Lord. We on this side are hopeful that we're gonna get mercy, Lord willing. You know?
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm finishing that verse.
Can. Yeah, I wanted to get wanted to get this as well, right? It's Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come.
You know what? Start up a bit higher, innit? Read into it, Bubble Show.
Um,
I think it's like a verse or two above.
yeah, this is verse 32. It says, And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song, as of one that hath a pleasant voice, and can play well on an instrument. For they hear thy words, but they do them not. It says, And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall it be known that a prophet hath been among them.
Yeah, because for a long while it's been a fashionable thing to be an Israelite. It's been cool. It's been a niche to some people, right?
Mhm.
And people have just put it to the back burner. But it's the same thing as happened in a lockdown. That's when all our videos are getting the most views, boy. Everyone's just on the comment boards and shit. Oh shit! So what's going on? Because people know that they've heard what the prophet have said,
Mhm.
and it's about to get dark, man. The movies and films that you've enjoyed and just thought was for just entertainment, it's about to get dark, man. And all these is remember, all these are just the beginning of sorrows, bro. You know? Yep. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so yeah, so we read it. Let's see what precepts we have here as well. All right.
And have you got more on? Have you got more like in the news aspect or anything in the news aspect that you wanted to read?
Not particularly. It was mainly just that article. That
Mm,
sorry, that thing from the chat. Because basically what it's all of the things that this thing that we're reading in chat was saying assumes one thing, that the war was to end today and was to never restart. Right?
mm,
And imagine these are all of the lags, right? And some of these it's saying, look, man, they ain't no getting back to quote normal, right? And just like the CV, what were they pushing? They were pushing a new normal.
mm. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Because
Look,
because
food fertilizer effects 1 to 2 years. So that's basically like 2 years of a terrible harvest minimum.
mm, yep, yep. And bro, your 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 flights are literally the least of your worries. You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
You know, the wider scale is famine. People are worried about flights. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It says, even Europe, it says Europe has maybe 6 weeks of jet fuel left. You know, it's a big deal. But
Hmm.
again, you ain't seen nothing yet.
That's
Good.
it. That's it. Because that's the thing as well about jet fuel. It's not just about travel. It's about logistics, right? It's why you'll see DHL planes in the sky, right? You see other FedEx or whatever it is, because any thing that you need to post quick, right? Now all of a sudden your postal prices are going up. So if you're importing things into the America now with the tariffs and stuff like that, and you were importing it, flying it over to the States, right? Guess what? It's just become even more expensive for the consumer, right? So it's all about the destruction of this system, which is beautiful to see, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Um,
Can you read Second Answers 15 and 14 by Bookshah?
so second Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands.
Yeah, yeah. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, man. For their sword and destruction draweth nigh. So it's woe to the world, man. Because look, we know that these major cities are the ones that's going to be the most hit, right? But it's really, bro, a lot of places like that, like if we look at the impact of the Strait of Hormuz and just the relay of food and gas prices. There are many regions and theaters like in the world that people are not even thinking about that's going to be impacted. People just think about Europe. What about people, you know what I mean, over there, like in Africa and Australia and other things that people don't really think about that are being impacted too? Like you had mentioned before with Japan, the fact that what is the stat again, bro? Is it
That's around
70%?
90%. Around
90
90%.
90% of what again? The petrol and all that.
Basically around 90% of
Mm,
what do you call it? Japan's like oil and stuff like that comes from
mm,
the Gulf areas,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So, and the thing about Japan is a hedging economy. So when Japan's economy is going down the drain, guess what? Right, that has a knock-on effect in the rest of the world.
Mm, no, yep. Go ahead.
Look, so it says, verse 16, so there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I mean, like in the midst of all of these things, MAGA, you know, MAGA feels hurt by Trump. You know, MAGA feels Trump lied to them. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? The whole conversation with ICE, and that's been floating in the background, and over here, like in the UK, the whole migrant situation, and it's like as when people's livelihoods be impacted, instead of blaming the elites, people blame each other, which as Scripture says, the kingdom divided cannot stand.
Hmm.
So you can see it's like they are going to have a system in place to ration the food supplies. Because if you leave life to just normally be, it's just going to be sold to the highest bidder. You know what I'm saying? And your common average everyday man isn't going to be able to compete with that way of living. You know what I mean? Can you imagine going to a store and you can only buy it if you're the highest bidder? when those who have the most money can just can live fine. So you can easily see how they would have to create a rationing system to divide the food supplies so that both the rich and the poor could supposedly get food supply. But do you think they got time to bring out pamphlets? You know, can you sign here, please? No, bro. They're gonna have to bring the system. You know,
Well,
and
they
that's what
already got
happened.
the system. I think
Yeah,
bring is a bit of a misnomer. I know what you mean,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like the system is already here. And once
Yes,
again,
exactly.
cast your mind back to the CV. What did they say? People
Yeah,
are, well, I'm not going to take that juice because it's new technology. It's been untested, right? And then
mm,
it's gonna people be like, oh, sorry, the so-called scientists will be like, oh no, we've been working on this for 10 years, right? And once again, if you're watching and praying as we've been commanded to do, you
yeah,
realize that actually this tech they've been building globally, right? There
yeah,
isn't, in terms of the quote, civilized world, if you will,
yeah,
everywhere's got this technology, and by that I mean, you get those little, like little small, you know I don't want to say it's places like Fiji. I know Fiji's got stuff, but them Papua New
mm,
Guinea and them kind of small places in the world, right? Outside of them, but in terms of the majority of the world has this infrastructure ready to go.
yeah, yeah. You're the ones. It's like, bro. It's like according to your weight and height, you can only have 10 grams of butter a day. You know, or whatever it is, or because we got the information of your height and weight and blood type, you can eat this a fly protein burger, you know, because the food supply. Because remember, they are talking about poultry and meat in general being impacted, you know. So you know, man, it's called what? Order out of chaos, man. You know, they create these things and they bring the solutions, man. Right? And remember, the actual scripture spoke about as well. About how it's going to take a day's wages, you know, to buy
Mhm.
food. Yeah, okay, bro.
No, so let me just grab that real quick. This is Revelation 6:6. It says, and I heard 6:5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the beast, midst of the four beasts, say, a measure of wheat for a penny, right? And three measures of barley for a penny. And see that hurt not the oil and the wine, right? And that penny, right? Basically going into, right, the denarius, right? And if you
Yeah.
see here, right, it says it would seem. So it says from the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was the ordinary pay for a day's wage,
Mm,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So imagine, and then you know what? Just read the same verse in the NLT. It says it even more plainly, you know, to just hit the point.
Right. So it says Revelation 6:6 in the NLT says, and I heard a voice from among the four living beings say, a loaf of wheat of bread, it's like a loaf of wheat bread or three loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the
Yeah,
olive oil and wine.
yeah, yeah, and obviously we all know that the oil and wine represents His truth. But the point when it's talking about before, it talks about it's going to cost a day's wages for the most basic of food supplies. You know what I mean? So that just gives you an indication, bro, of like of the life as you know it being cooked. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's like you know, which what I'm about to say is a oxymoron, but I think it's a good saying. The seeds of famine have already been planted. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
seeds of famine have already been planted, bro, and it's on its way. You know, it's absolutely on its way. All right. Um. Yeah. If you can round up what you we was reading in Second Ezra, and then obviously, you know, what I mean, I know you have to go
I'm on
soon.
the clock in it, so
Yeah, yeah, come.
yeah. It's the second Ezra 15 and 17. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because
Mm.
of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, yeah, so that's the point. Because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, and men shall be afraid. Man, people going from house to house. That's coming. That's coming,
Mhm.
bro. Because
Well,
when man, lockdown, people was fighting over toilet paper. If now the shelves are fucking empty, and now the next door neighbor knows that their neighbor's got 5 kids and routinely goes and does a big shop every week, how do you think it's gonna get?
mm,
So it's just that time, man. We gotta just stay locked in, stay prayed up. But hey, as the title says, the prophets were right, and we're seeing it happen. We're seeing it play out, and it's only gonna get worse, man. You know.
that's it.
All right. So, bro, with that, have you got anything else you want to say?
Bro, it's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful time. It's all that we've been hoping for, praying for. Yeah, we go and get caught up in the midst, some way somehow. But our hope is that, rather than what has been promised to us, is that the Lord is going to make a way, and that's what we're looking forward to, right? It's just for for anyone new to this, just remembering this pain and suffering, it ain't for the wicked,
Yeah.
right? It's for the wicked
Mm,
sluck. It ain't for the righteous, you know.
mm, yeah. 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 That's it. The scripture says in Second Ezra 9 that you know, through faith and works is how we're going to escape. But for all these people, the scripture says they've enjoyed their benefits and didn't care about the Lord. The same must know it after death by pain, man.
That's it.
So yeah, all right, man. So with that, we're gonna say, "All praises be to to Yahweh Bashem,
Hashem Yahushai.
Yahushai, Bashem Makakodash." Then we're gonna say double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Till
Ones.
next time, we're gonna say Shalom.